Hey book lovers, Kaylee here and welcome back to the Enchanted Library. But today we are in front of my Enchanted Christmas tree because I am going to be doing a Christmassy book tag. I also have my very festive sweater on right now because I'm really getting into the season and I absolutely love this sweater so much and I'm really excited to be able to wear it again. So this tag was created by Tilly and her books, which I'll put a link to her video above my head and in the description down below, so definitely be sure to check her out. But I saw her do this last year with one of her friends and it just stuck in my mind. I was like, I need to do that for Christmas in 2018, so here we are. This tag has 6 questions and at the end I will tag a few people to also do this, so stay tuned until the end to see if you have been tagged. Question number 1 is, what present would you like Santa to leave under your tree? Now for this one, oh boy, I could rack my brain so much. I could ask for so many things that I wish that I could see under my tree, but you know what? Let's go big or go home. I would love for Santa to give me a first edition of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Yeah, I know, it's a little bit much to ask for, but hey, if we are just giving Christmas wishes here, that is what I wish Santa would leave under my tree. Honorable mentions will obviously go out to special collector's editions of any of my favorite books and that sort of thing, or full collections of like really nicely bound books. I love all of that sort of thing, so any of those are fair game too. Question number 2 is, if you could give only one book as a gift, what would it be and why? There are so many books that I would love to gift to someone, but I tried to delve really deep into my psyche and into what I think a really good book would be for most people, and I ended up choosing The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Now, the reason that I'm going with this book is because I think that it is a book for the masses. Anybody can read this book, anybody can draw from the messages that are in this book. It is emotional, it is thought-provoking, not to mention a part of it takes place in Amsterdam, so I mean, you've got some travel in there too. But also because this book is a modern age classic. I think that when people look back in the 2000s for major book releases that came out and had a really big impact on the world, this is one of them. So if I could give any book, I would probably give The Fault in Our Stars. Obviously, I could also do Harry Potter and that sort of thing, but I'm going to try and think outside of the box, hence The Fault in Our Stars. But yes, this book is a modern day classic. It is going to go down in history as one of those books that should be required reading in school, that people will look into and just find so many good thoughts and provoke so many emotions. Question number 3 is, which books deserve to go on the naughty list? The books that I have chosen go on the naughty list because they promised one thing to me and had me really excited to read them, but when it actually came to reading them, they left me wanting, and that really ended up being disappointing for me. So the first book on this pile is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book is on the naughty list because of the reasons that I said, and I had been anticipating reading this book since its release, and when I finally got down to it, it was really disappointing. It wasn't well executed. There are many issues that I had with this story, so that is why it is on the naughty list. And also, I picked books that I just read this year, so then that way we can keep it a little bit more contained. The next book that I have here is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, and this book I had so many high hopes for. I heard of so many people who absolutely loved it. People who don't normally like fantasy love this book. People who love fantasy love this book and this whole series. But when I actually came to reading it, the only thing I enjoyed was the last 2 chapters. I think the last 2 chapters. I'm continuing with the series, but it is on the naughty list because it made me think that I would love it, and I really didn't. Next on the naughty list is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, and this was so disappointing for so many reasons. I was expecting a really epic story that one of my friends really highly recommended to me, so I thought that it would be right up my alley, but in the end I got a reimagining of Twilight. And it wasn't even reimagining. This is basically regurgitated Twilight. It wasn't good. It was very disappointing, so it is also on the naughty list. And lastly for the naughty list was The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. And this book is on the naughty list because I was promised an amazing book with amazing prose that almost feels like a whimsical fairy tale. And I was given disturbing, disgusting, poor taste writing and storyline, and it was just bad, bad, bad all around. And on the other side of the spectrum are books that deserve to be on the nice list. Now, all of these books aside from one are books that I was promised one thing and it gave me exactly what it promised, and it was just so well executed. So the first book though that I have here is one that I really didn't even know about until it came in my owl crate, but it fastly became one of my favorite reads of the year, and that is Catching Stars by Kayla Keenan. It is one of the greatest representations that I read this year of an adventure narrative, and it had two amazing main characters and two amazing points of views that I cannot get enough of this story, and it deserves to go on the nice list because it made me so happy. Next is a book that I was recommended by a friend and blogger, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. And I don't normally read romance books, but this one was so charming and sweet and just perfect to me that this has to go on the nice list because the story was sweet, the characters were great, and I cannot wait for this to become a movie because I just think that this is going to be one of the best representations of a romance novel being turned into a film that I could imagine. Next is a book that just left me enchanted, and if a book that leaves you enchanted doesn't end up on the nice list, then there's something wrong. But that is The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. And this book, like I said, it just had me enchanted from start to finish. Well, it maybe took me a couple of pages to really get into it because it's all written in correspondence, but it was just so beautiful. I loved the characters. I loved how we could get into the minds of so many different characters because it was written by correspondence. So this one really does deserve to be on the nice list as well. And lastly is a book that I knew I would love, but I put off reading for a couple of years because I was afraid I overhyped it, but I definitely did not. And that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So this one deserves to be on the nice list for that very reason, and the fact that it was such an amazing journey, such amazing characters, the world was so well realized, and there's just so much about this book and series that I absolutely adore, and if it didn't end up being on the nice list, then there was going to be a problem. Question number 5 is, which fictional characters would you invite to Christmas dinner? And for this one, I went with 4 main characters that I think are just the perfect dinner guests to have, particularly for myself, because we would have a lot in common and a lot to talk about and discuss. And I just think all of us would really revel in the Christmas time spirit and still be able to talk about literature and all of that fun stuff. So the 4 characters that I decided to invite to Christmas dinner are Anne of Green Gables, Jo March, Elizabeth Bennet, and Hermione Granger. I mean, if you could sit in a room and talk with all of them about literature, about life, about Christmas, I don't think I could think of anybody better. And the next question is to pick 2 favorite characters and have them buy Christmas gifts for each other, and what would they buy? This one was really fun. So I tried to pick 2 characters that were kind of similar and could appreciate certain things about the other, but that were also from 2 totally different worlds. So I ended up going with Delilah Bard from A Darker Shade of Magic and Nancy Drew from Nancy Drew. Now, what on earth would they get each other? Well, Delilah Bard would definitely get Nancy Drew a knife because Nancy gets into a few scrapes and it should be good that she can protect herself. So I think that Delilah would definitely get her a knife. And Nancy Drew would give Delilah a pair of binoculars because she's a spy, she knows her stuff when it comes to binoculars, and I think that Delilah would get a lot of use out of them out on the water, on her ship, and just taking in the sights with her binoculars. I just think that those 2 pieces people buying gifts for each other and having those as their gifts would be really fun. And the last prompt is to tag some friends. So I decided to tag 6 people and I wrote everybody down here. So the first one that I have is Thoughts on Tomes, and then The Lawn Gnome, Jaded Reader, With Cinnamon Please, Books with Alyssa J, and Min Kobayashi. But also, if I didn't tag you, please don't take offense, consider yourself tagged, and I would love for you to make a comment down below letting me know if you did the video or not, or if you don't plan on doing the video, you can always answer the questions in the comments. And as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and until next time, keep reading. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.